Welcome back to my channel. So this video is all about the starch solution, what it is, why I'm doing it, and how you can start as well. So giving you some tips on how to get going if that's something that interests you. So the starch solution is a lifestyle that has been created by a doctor called Dr. Mcdougall, an American doctor who discovered that human beings run the best on a starch-based, plant-based diet. He's written books about this. There's much research out there and available to us that shows that a whole food plant-based diet is optimal for human health. And there are many reasons why so. These include things like the fact that you are eliminating cholesterol, you're removing animal fats from your diet and the hormones and the bacteria and so on that comes along with eating animal products. You are taking out oil from your diet. Oil is a completely human-made, processed substance, which we kind of have been fooled into thinking is quite good for us. Those healthy fats, we need those olive oils. Actually, it's not true. I only learnt this sometime during my 30s. I always ate oil thinking that, that there were healthy oils that were good for us, almost that they were necessary for us. It's complete fabrication. We don't need oils. They don't occur in nature. So it's removing oils, removing animal products, and eating a non-processed diet. So it's very natural. And when you eat this way, the calorie density is so low that you can eat very abundant sized meals. You can eat very well. You don't have to worry about portion control. You don't have to worry about calorie counting. So it's a very natural way to eat. You eat to your hunger, you eat to your satisfaction, and you eat the foods and the quantities that are right for you. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that just because you don't have to count calories and worry about those things that you should gorge yourself and go crazy if you want to live on this lifestyle. You still eat the kind of sized meals that you perhaps had before, maybe a little larger, to be honest, but you don't have to have huge portions, and you certainly don't need to limit what you're eating. So the starch solution really teaches us and tells us that we need to base our meals around starches. Now, I'm over in the UK and I was raised by a traditional omnivore family. We kind of ate anything and everything. And we over here in the UK very much base our meals really around like a meat traditionally, maybe meat or fish or eggs. And then we'll add in potatoes or rice or something and some veggies. But we kind of base our meals around animal products, as do many other cultures. So to base your meals around starches is a big difference. It is a big change. And for a lot of people, they have that mentality of like, no, that's the starch is like the side, but you need to make the starch the central part of the meal. So we're talking about things like potatoes, rice, oats, things like squashes, beans and legumes. These things become the focus of the plate. And that's at breakfast, lunch and dinner. And these foods are very nutrient dense. They are incredibly healthy for you. They're so packed with fibre, water, like I said, the nutrients, that they are so good for you. They really help to keep you satisfied in terms of your hunger levels, but they also really feed your body mentally and physically with the foods that you need. So you base your plates around these, and then you add in your non-starchy vegetables and fruits to the meal as well. So obviously we all know what our non-starchy vegetables are, things like the broccoli, the sprouts, the kale, cauliflower, courgettes, mushrooms, salads, everything else you can think of. And all fruit as well is allowed on the starch solution. You don't have to think about the sugar. If the sugar is wrapped up in its natural state, as in it comes in a piece of fruit, then it's absolutely fine. There is no way that that sugar is going to turn to fat on your body when you're eating this way. So cutting out all processed foods, cutting out animal products, and basing your meals around starches is going to be a really huge jump for some people. A huge jump. And some people will just want to just go for it. They find out about the starch solution. Maybe they've watched a video by Dr. Mcdougall, or they've read the book. I'll link it down in the description as well. You can have a look yourself at the book. Maybe they find out about it and they just want to go for it. They just want to jump in fully. And it depends on your personality as to whether that is right for you. because for some people it really is. They can just make a change in their life that's dramatic and that's it. Forevermore they go that way. For other people, if it's going to be a huge transition from you and you are eating a very standard diet today, I think personally that maybe a more gradual approach would be better. And what I always suggest to people is that while you're making your transition, you educate yourself more and more and more on this new lifestyle that you are interested in, because it's hearing the evidence, it's watching other people's videos, reading books, listening to plant-based doctors. It's gathering that information over a period of time that is going to convince you, help you, and motivate you that this is the way you want to go. I recently said this to one of my family members who has just found out about the Starch Solution, and she was saying, I'll just start it on Monday, I'll buy all the stuff and I'll go for it. And I even said to her, well, why don't you just start with doing one meal a day and see how it goes? Because the trouble is with so many people is that black and white, all or nothing mentality really lets us down as human beings. Now, not everybody suffers with this, but a lot of women do, especially women that have tried many different things in the past. They kind of think it's got to be all or nothing. And if I fail once, then that's it. I can't do it and I'll just go back to how I was before. And having that mentality can really, really destroy you. And it can really make it difficult for you to succeed at keeping with any new change. So doing something a bit gradually and having a transition period, I personally think is a good way to go. For me, I was vegan for years before I decided to go fully whole food plant-based. And then that change wasn't quite as much. Like I said, everyone's different. For you, it might be, no, I've learned about this and I want to go for it. So that's the first thing I would say about transitioning. So the Starch Solution is a high carb, low fat, zero oil diet. Zero oil diet. Now, oil is going to be found in pretty much all processed foods. Very, very high percentage of processed foods are going to contain some kind of oil. So we're trying to eliminate processed foods, really. We are going for the whole plant foods and eating them as natural to their state, their natural state as we can. Of course, cooking them first. There's lots of starches. Most starches you're not going to eat if they're not cooked. So we're cooking the starches and then we're obviously cooking our veggies, having our fruits as well. And that is the way you're going to approach this. Zero oil. Oil is just pure liquid fat. There aren't nutrients in there that your body needs that you're not going to get from just eating vegetables in their natural state. Oil is so refined and it's not good for us. Many studies show that it is detrimental to health, and it certainly helps you to keep overweight as well. So one of the amazing things about being on the Starch Solution lifestyle is that your body will lose weight if you've got weight to lose, and it will sit at its natural state. We all know really where our bodies should be in terms of the size we should be. And maybe we haven't been that size for years, maybe even decades. I probably don't think I have been where I should be for a very long time, maybe over 10 years. I've not been massively overweight, but I've always had some extra weight on my body since I've been around 30 to 35. And eating foods just on the Starch Solution will allow your body to kind of regulate, normalize, and get you down to the weight that you are supposed to be. So that's brilliant, because you're not doing that through calorie counting, and you're not doing that through limitation of portion size or anything like that. You are eating big portions, you're nice and full, you're so satisfied, but you still lose weight, which is kind of like a novel concept really in the diet culture that we live in today, because we're so used to having to count a macro or a calorie or a point, or just restrict to try to get our bodies down to a smaller size. But that's because of those processed foods, animal products, oils and things like that. Those are the things that are really high in calories when you compare them to your fruits, your vegetables and starches. So the way I'm approaching this right now is I am doing Dr. Mcdougall's maximum weight loss section of the lifestyle, because it depends where you're coming from. And at the moment, I would really like to release some weight. That's what my kind of focus of this channel will be about for the next so over many months that it takes me, I want to release some weight, and then I will go on to his kind of maintenance plan, which again, I'm not thinking of this as a diet or something to do until I achieve something. This is a lifestyle. I want to eat like this permanently. But right now, while I'm in the maximum weight loss stage, I am doing what he calls having a 50-50 plate. So that means every meal that I have, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I always have 50% of my plate as non-starchy vegetables, and the other 50% of my meal will be the starches. And this isn't something that you need to worry about in terms of weight or anything like that. It's just a visual, okay? So 50% will be, like the rice or the potatoes. It will be a squash, or it will be beans and legumes. And the other 50% will be those non-starchy vegetables, in which there is an abundance of them. And again, you can mix them together and so on. It's not anything to do with eating them separately or so on. It's just about keeping those ratios there. And that even goes for breakfast as well. So having vegetables at breakfast time, which again, in the British culture is definitely not the norm, but you quite quickly get used to it. It's not even weird after a couple of days or weeks of doing this. So now I have vegetables in the morning alongside my bowl of porridge, and that suits me fine. And the reason we're doing that is A, because it really boosts those nutrients that we're getting every single meal. It's really filling. And also there are studies that show that it's the green vegetables in our diet that help to keep us satisfied. They satiate us for longer than other plant foods do. So eating your greens is great. It's so good. It's those phytochemicals and all of those abundance of nutrients in there. They help you in so many ways, your digestion, your physical health, your mental health, and they help to keep you fuller for longer. So interesting, right? So we need to be having those vegetables 3 times a day, and always eating vegetables 50% and starches 50%. And if you like plain food, you can just have it like that. But you can add in an array of herbs and spices, flavors. There's so many things you can do to your foods to make them nice and tasty. You can add on garlic salt, you can add liquid aminos, soy sauce, any herb and spice that you can think of. Add all of those things into your cooking so that your food is really flavorful. Lots of hot sauces, as long as you just check the back that it's not an oil-based sauce. You don't want to have any oil-based sauces, but lots of them aren't. You can use hot sauce, mustard, even ketchup. Ketchup might have sugar in it, but very often it hasn't got oil in it. And a little bit of sugar here and there is going to be fine in terms of your health. It's the fats that are the problem, and it's the animal fats in particular that are really detrimental to health. So in terms of recipes and actually what am I making with these starches and non-starches, I personally am keeping it super, super simple at the moment, and I am just cooking them and eating them. So in the morning, I might have a big bowl of porridge with lots of fruits mixed through, and I might have a big bowl of cabbage or sprouts or cauliflower next to it. It's a huge portion. It really keeps me full and really, really satisfied. And then for lunch, I might have a jacket potato or a sweet potato and just a load of vegetables with it. But like I said, I'm flavouring this up with different spices. Sometimes it might be curried vegetables. Other times I might use hot sauce. Other times I might just use garlic and onions. So there's different ways you can adapt the flavours to make it a little bit of a different style. And then for dinner, I might make a curry. Again, simple vegetable curry. Just use some tomatoes, maybe add in some chickpeas, veggies, or I might just keep it really plain and simple again and have more potatoes and more vegetables. I don't really get bored of potatoes and vegetables because I love both of those things, and potatoes are king when it comes to the starch solution. And on so many other diets and lifestyles, women have been negatively influenced and told that potatoes are bad for you or that carbs are bad for you. Carbs are the fuel of life. Do not be scared of carbs. Be scared of fats. Those are the things that you don't want to be having. They clog your arteries. They ruin your skin. They make you overweight. What you want to be doing is having that high carb diet and low fat diet. It is shown to be really great for your health overall. And if you look at something like the Blue Zone study, which was a study that looked at which populations throughout the world have the most people that live to 100 and are still in good health. And what this study did is it looked at why were these particular parts of the world having these people that were living to 100 easily, regularly, and they were in good health. And of course, they looked at the diet, the lifestyle, they looked at their communities, they looked at their mental health, all sorts of things. And what I'm particularly interested in is what they were eating. And it was a plant-based diet. It wasn't a vegan diet. They were like 95 to 98% plant-based though. And they weren't having oils. They weren't having processed foods. They ate simple, whole plant foods, and they were thriving on it. People weren't overweight, people weren't sick, and people had energy, and they were moving, and they were happy and healthy up until 100 and beyond. I mean, it's an incredible study. I'll link that down below as well, the Blue Zone study. So yeah, it's very, very simple the way I'm eating. Now, for some people, they will want to have all the fancy recipes and things like that, and you can find them, and you can make special recipes that are Starch Solution compliant. But right now, I'm just keeping it really simple, and I'm batch cooking as well. So I won't just cook a few potatoes, I will cook a huge pot of potatoes because they live in the fridge really, really well. In fact, you can even freeze them when they're cooked. So you don't have to cook as regularly. You know, you can cook 2 or 3 times a week and just cook a huge batch of potatoes, and you can have them in different styles: mashed potato, roast potatoes, turn them into wedges, turn them into fries, all different things you can do with potatoes, and have them with different kinds of vegetables, herbs and spices, and mix it up a lot. But the potato is so low calorie and high nutrient that it is so, so good for us. In fact, studies have shown that you can survive on potatoes alone. They are the one food that contains such a selection of nutrients that you can actually survive on potatoes. It's incredible. You can survive on potatoes. So that's not what I'm doing, but you could do that. I'm eating lots of variety, to be honest, and I am really loving this way of eating. It's just easy. You don't have to think about it too much, and you know that you're eating for your health. And that's really the key thing for me, is to eat for health. Yes, I would like to lose weight, but I'm not doing this to lose weight. I'm doing this because I want to be healthy. So on this channel, I'm going to be making more videos about what I eat in a day. Next week, you'll get another one of those, what I eat in a day, and it will simply show you exactly how I'm doing it, and also start documenting results, how I feel. So keep tuned for this, because the Starch Solution is so, so amazing. It really is. I have actually done this before and I kind of dwindled away from it, but this time I really want to stick with it because I just know it's the way for me. I'm not the kind of person who weighs myself regularly or worries about numbers on the scale. I just know how I feel, and I know how I look in my clothes. That's kind of how I gauge what weight I should be, I suppose. But I did weigh myself before I started again with the Starch Solution about 3 weeks ago, and I have lost 6 pounds in the last 3 weeks, which I'm really happy with, because I am not in a hurry for this weight loss. I am doing this for my health. So if you want to come along on the journey and start doing the Starch Solution with me, drop me a comment below. I would love to hear from you and help you in any way I can. And watch out for next week's video, where I will be showing you another what I eat in a day. See you then, and enjoy these linked videos here. Bye for now. See ya.